Hi, I'll be doing more of these videos in the coming future. Futurama's ending tonight. Um, it makes me sad. I, I, I wish it wasn't cancelled. Yes, people have been saying like, oh, it doesn't have the same spark as with the original Fox run, which, yes, I agree there. There's been episodes that have been heavily hit and miss, or hit or miss, whatever you decide is the correct term there. But the original series, they did have a couple episodes like that, where there were some that weren't that entertaining or that funny. Yes, I do agree that there's been at least a greater frequency of them. Okay. However, just for the previous season, the last few episodes, and this whole current closing season, it's been terrific. It really shows that it can get back to that. And when it really comes down to it, once again, yes, I do agree that it isn't as humorous or it isn't as clever. Oh, actually, I disagree on it being not that clever. Yes, I do agree it isn't that humorous as. Okay, where was I? Oh, right. Not being funny. Yes, I agree there. But to me, it can get away with that. I mean, at its core, Futurama isn't quite a comedy. Yes, they do a lot of parody and satire, but it comes down to it. It doesn't need to be. Which another series that is near to my heart that I honestly don't consider to be comedy, or I don't really find a lot of the jokes or humor that funny. I do stress I do love Futurama, and what I'm pertaining to is Venture Brothers, or Venture Bros. I do genuinely love the series, but when it comes down to it, I don't consider it to be a comedy. With both series, I find it more character and story driven rather than through just sheer humor. And that's fine. Both have such well-defined and developed worlds that they don't need the humor for the story to exist or to be entertaining. This way, the story, or both series, technically are dramas or slice of life. At both series cores, that's what they really are to me, and that's fine. Yes, it can be both can be really, really clever with their humor and satire, but at the end of the day, they're not comedy. They're more or less a drama set in a science fiction setting, and they do that great. They don't need to go into humor for them to be great, and that is completely fine. And with the last season and the last few episodes of the previous season of Futurama, the humor has been incredibly good, and there have been multiple episodes even like the episode last week, the one with Zoidberg and the florist. Not that much humor, but it was just incredibly well done. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Something does not have to be funny to be entertaining or to be considered good. Same thing with virtually everything within the drama uh, category. Oh, House, Breaking, well, Breaking Bad does have its humorous spots. Actually, that would be the closest analog to this. Um, Fringe, Heroes for the first season half. I'll get to that on a later date. It, it doesn't need to be humorous to be good. That is okay. And I'm repeating myself at that point. But that is okay. Um, and if this truly comes down to budgetary constraints, um, yes, Comedy Central does have a lot of high-profile new shows, or new as in continuous production. That is good. But when it comes down to it, at the very core of the bare bones what Comedy Central can do, it's The Daily Show, The Colbert Report, and South Park. If it hits the fan and they're in deep amounts of debt, those will be the three shows that they will be funding for continued new episodes and seasons. But that, to my knowledge, is not the case. Now, related to the lack of humor and both with the budgetary constraints, there's the new, I guess it's headed by Daniel Tosh. It's from the same production studio, Blackheart Productions or something like that. Yes, Daniel Tosh can be quite good, but he might even not be a primary writer of it. Anyway, it's Brickleberry's just. I'm guessing that's why Futurama is getting knocked off right now. But that's not worth it. Brickleberry, I've watched the entire previous season twice over. It's just not that funny, and not in the way that can be good. It attempts to be raunchy and clever, which, when it comes down to it, it's trying to be a lot like South Park. And it can't. Yes, it could be argued that it is trying to do its own thing. I agree there, but it doesn't make me want more of it. After every episode of the previous season, I'm indifferent. It doesn't deserve a second season, as it is getting one now. Maybe it's gotten better. I hope it has, but when it comes down to it, Brickleberry doesn't deserve a second season. Or, well, if the second season's already been fully produced and made and whatnot, okay, fine, air that, but it doesn't deserve a continuation. But the most recent season of Futurama and the last few episodes of the previous season, it shows that it can get back to what it was in the original run by Fox. And with the following direct-to-DVD movies of Futurama, they can get back to that, as well as evolve past that into something entirely new. They have the capacity to, and they've been showing most recently that they're able to do it, and then some. Where I need to, with the Wild Green Yonder, the end of it, it left with the possibility of Futurama being continued or it not. And the way they did that, it felt right, it felt okay, which it wasn't even remotely expressed in words that it was. This was back when there was all that flack going around of Comedy Central was getting Futurama, but there was resistance to that from the original network that aired it, I would have been fine if it ended there. But most currently, it doesn't deserve being killed off. Next time, an in-depth analysis of Elysium.